Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Referrals Podcast. Have you ever heard an agent or a lender or an entrepreneur who goes, "That'll never work in my market"? Have you ever heard that? Like you're in class and they're like, "Oh, that great retrace thing, that'll never work in my market." Or, "Oh, that event thing, that'll never work in my market." Well, I will tell you, today we're going to explode that limiting belief. It works in any market. You know what? As long as you have people in your market, this will work. Do you have people? If you don't have people, you should probably move. If there is people, if there is a group of people, then guess what? You should be doing the referral mastery system. You should be implementing self-mastery, relationship mastery, event mastery, putting it all together, because the result isn't just referrals. It's having an awesome life, led with love, generosity, and appreciation. So I'm so excited today because the two guests that we have today, we've been trying to get them on. We finally got them on. They are here to explain the success they had in one of our classes, Event Mastery class. And they're also going to just talk about what the results were above and beyond just having the event. And I'm so excited to get into this conversation. But first, I have to tell you, on National Pay It Forward Day, that's like one of my favorite days in the world, I got a handwritten note. And I love this note. I know you can't read it or see it. I'll read it to you. But it says, "I had to use a different envelope because this came with a boring white envelope." So the author of this note knows that in the 7 Steps to a Power Note, I talk about using colored envelopes. They just stand out. I mean, when you go to the mailbox, you see 10 white, and then you see this red or yellow or blue envelope, and you're like, "Oh, that looks interesting," right? So she actually took the white envelope that came with this card, replaced it with and do you know how hard it is to find envelopes that fit certain cards? Like, that actually took a task. And then she said, "Dearest Michael, it's National Pay It Forward or Backward Day, so I just wanted to keep in touch. And I wanted to let you know that I try to do what's right, even writing rightly." You will see that when she writes the note, it is sloped upward and to the right, like we teach in the 7 Steps to a Power Note. Please treat the VIP, I guess that's me, to Starbucks and buy Sherry her favorite as well. She knew the name of my wife. That's cool. You are so thoughtful, generous, and a great leader and coach. Love you, ? P.S. Please text the person you think sent this to you a picture of you with your treat she put in a $50 gift card to Starbucks. Yes, PS number 2. Yes, I follow the rules, but it does bother me. My mother said to match the ink with the writing on the card. Yet I am using blue ink. Why? Because Michael Maher said so. So I just have to give a shout out to one of the greatest handwritten notes I've ever gotten in my life, to Kim Spencer. Too obvious. Kim Spencer, you are the best handwritten note person in the world, I swear. So, Kimma, thank you so much. Appreciate you so much. Know you're loved. And it made my week. Now it's made my month, right? So, good stuff. Last but not least, you want to meet Kim. You want to meet others like the guest that we're going to have on today. Go to rms22.com. Go to Referral Mastery Summit in Orlando. Isn't it time you took your family to Orlando? And what if you could stay at a hotel for $129 a night right next to Disney World? How cool would that be? And the other thing too is flights are so inexpensive right now to Orlando. I don't know why that is. It's going to go up. We know that. But the time to book your flight is right now. But the thing is listen, I don't want just anybody at this event. I don't. Like, so many agents want entertainment right now. They want to be entertained. Oh, please give me TikTok, give me a video, give me, give me a stuffed animal that has a GoPro on its head and we'll run around the room with it. And it's like, that's not the agent I want. You know who I want? I want the one who's looking to grow, who's looking to lead, who's looking to take their business to the next level. Because you know what? That's what this group is. Gen, the Generosity Generation, and Referral Mastery Summit are going to be some of the best people in the world who are in growth mode, learning mode. They're not in venting mode or frustration mode or complaining mode or the mortgage rates are up or down mode. You know what they're in? They're in love, generosity, and appreciation. And they're building their business on that, and they're building their life on that. And don't you want to be a part of that too? And it's strategic, it's tactical, practical. They're actually going to share in 32 breakouts. They're going to share their strategies for how to get referrals without asking, simply by building a business on love, generosity, and appreciation. You got to be there. I hope you make it. rms22.com. You're going to hear a lot more about this over the next 3 to 4 weeks. I just want you to know that. So you might as well sign up now so you can just tune this part out in future episodes. rms22.com. Now, I have to tell you that two people that I know I know 3 people that are going to RMS 22 from this interview. I'll have to tell you that story in a second. But our first guest today is a realtor with just shy of 2 years experience out of Lafayette, Louisiana, where she was born and raised. Cajun country is her home. Her background includes 15 years in financial services, 10 of which she served as the assistant AD at the University of Louisiana. When not selling real estate, you will find her at one of her 2 kids' activities at church or at a local event serving the community. Welcome, Monique Ardoin, to the Referrals podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm beyond excited and honored to have this opportunity to speak with you.
It just makes sense to me that somebody from Lafayette, Louisiana would have a French last name. Why is that just like, that just makes so much sense to me. I just love it. So, and I'll tell you, this is because they were in the same event mastery class. They buddied up, they shared notes. This is the perfect podcast to have both of them on. They really deserve their own podcast. I just want to throw that out there. But I will tell you, our next guest has been in the real estate business for just over 4 years and based out of Franklin, Massachusetts, about 90 minutes south of Boston. She was a career nanny, then a stay-at-home mom for 20 plus years before jumping into real estate. She has 4 children ranging in an age between 13 and 22 and can often be found hanging out with family at church or networking at Rotary Club or the Chamber of Commerce. She's always looking for ways to help and serve the community. Welcome, Julie Ochs, to the Referrals podcast. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Michael. I'm just really in awe that I'm actually here with you guys.
I love it. And that's what I love about Referrals podcast, right? Is how to get on. You implement, period, right? You implement and good things happen anyway. But we want to applaud those stories and celebrate those stories and share those stories with others, because you know what? There's people here who are in less than 2 years of experience and were in school or education or whatever before. We have stay-at-home moms who have gotten into real estate and are wondering how to have success. You guys are going to answer those questions today. And that's what I love about this. And the other thing is Julie, you have to tell me the story that before the show, we were just having a chat in the green room, if you will. And she was talking about, like, she has an agent in her area. So tell us a little bit about that story and what the result was.
Yes, there's an agent in my market that I saw a couple weeks ago. I've known her for a couple of decades, and I just threw it out there to her and I said, hey, would you like to go on an adventure with me? And so we are driving from Massachusetts to Orlando. So she's going to be my driving buddy, and she's coming to RMS with me. And I'm super excited. Because it's my first time to RMS. It's going to be her first time. It's going to be loads of fun.
I love that. Right. And I have to tell you that I love the bring a friend strategy no matter what. And you know, one of the things that if you've signed up for RMS, you will get an email about, hey, bring a friend. We'd love for you to bring a friend. So that's coming if you haven't gotten it yet. because I believe that's a great strategy for events anyway. But it's actually a great strategy for you, the attendees as well. And I will tell you that one of the best things that I ever did is I partnered with a travel buddy to go to conferences. His name is Brad Korn, and Brad Korn handled Kansas City, Missouri side. I handled the Kansas side. And then we would fly or drive. We drove to Austin, Texas one time. It took us 11 hours to get there. It took us like 20 to get back because we got lost. Brad, thanks a lot. But here's the thing is it was so great to compare notes, to have a safety buddy too, right? Somebody that can kind of prevent you from yourself, right, Brad? And it's one of those where it just like, it makes the learning more intense, but it also gives you that familiarity feel of safety and friend and kind of bounce ideas off each other. And I just absolutely love that you're taking a travel buddy and a friend to RMS. And I hope people listen to that and take advantage of it, because you're going to have a room anyway. Why not have a roommate that shares the cost to split the cost in half instantly? So just so many great things there. All right. So Monique, tell us about yourself and your business, like how long, team, individual agent, that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, I'm just a Southern Cajun girl from actually Ville Platte, Louisiana, which is one of the small areas close by Lafayette. And I love Jesus. I love my family. I love music, sports. I love learning. I'm digging real estate. So I've only been in real estate for just under 2 months. I will make my 2 years. Did I say 2 months? I'll make my 2 years coming up soon. And I'm an individual agent. I don't have a team.
Yep.
But so far, the business that I've had has been 95% either the people that I know personally or referrals. So that's pretty cool. And I've been blessed to have made top producer this past May. And let's see.
In your first year of business, basically, right? You're at like 16 months, 18 months, right?
Something like that.
Yeah. So how'd you find 7L in the first place?
So that's actually a story of friendship. Sonia Colliver, she's now part of Gin.
Yep.
We met each other in a growth challenge recently, and then after that we would meet up, do coffee, and work together, kind of change up the routines. And one of those meetings, she gave me this book, but the way she talked about it, she made me kind of accountable with it, right? Like, so I didn't want to let her down, but whenever I read it,
I got to ask what she said. I love it that she just didn't say, "Hey, here's a book I think you should read." It's like, you read it or die. Like, I love that accountability to it. What did she say that made you kind of accountable to it?
She basically said something like, she wants to know more on my take on the book the next couple of times that we meet up. So, and I didn't want to let her down. It was a new friendship, and we're both, working professionals. She's a money coach. And so, but when I started reading, I completely geeked out in it. It resonated so much with me. I made Google notes. I shared them with her. But I went down that rabbit hole into Wonderland and found out that there was a whole nother world to your book. And since then, I've just been, joining in, whether it be a March challenge, 30 mornings, RMA, RMA, then Catalyst. And now I'm going to RMS 22.
Hey, you're all in. And honestly, I'm the same way, right? Whatever program I'm in, I'm all in. I'm going to learn as much as I can from it. I love that. All right, you said that you were in a rabbit hole to Wonderland. Like, what does that actually mean? Because I think what you just explained is what 99% of all realtors kind of get into when they first get into the business. Like, what do you explain that?
So what I mean was more about, I jumped in the rabbit hole of your book, but there's Alice in Wonderland. It's a whole different world tied in. There you go. Yeah.
Okay.
Which is true. You offer so much. It's beyond event mastery.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And now, is the rabbit hole to Wonderland a compliment?
It's a
I'm
compliment.
gonna have to I've got to unpack that later, right? So there is Wonderland, but like a
Yeah.
rabbit hole isn't that like a derogatory term? I'll have
Well,
to.
oh, I don't know about that, but
It's like I was in a tornado
like I did a
and
deep
I ended up
dive.
in Oz, right? And it's like, wait, the tornado is not good, right? It's like
Yeah,
but it turned out good. So,
yeah,
all
it's
right.
good.
So
Um,
Julie, tell me a little bit about yourself and your business and like how long and team, individual agent, you've got leverage or, tell me that kind of.
Well, I actually started out as a virtual assistant to my uncle who brought me in the business. He wooed me over a few years.
Mm-hmm.
And when my daughter, my youngest, got in school, then I thought, well, here's my chance because I was asking myself, what do I want to be when I grow up?
Mm-hmm.
Because I still have a lot to offer the world. And so I jumped in, but I've been on an amazing team since 2018. They're like my family. And I actually have two niches in real estate. I'm a senior real estate specialist, but my heart is I'm a green specialist.
Mm-hmm.
My heart is, and I just love sustainability and ecology ever since I was little. That's what we called it. And when I was little. And what else I forgot?
Yeah, no, I think that explains all of it, right? And so you're still on a team now, right?
I'm on a team. Yes.
Yeah. So I love that because that gives us the snapshot of from a team member's perspective and also from a solo agent perspective that Monique gives us. And how did you find 7L? How did you get into 7L?
Well, that was very cool. My uncle gave me the Endless Referrals book by Bob Berg, and right
Yay.
after I read that, lo and behold, in my office, I see a copy of 7L. So I picked that up, but then I bought, so this dates how long I've had it. I bought the audiobook on CD.
Oh, wow.
And when we were in New Hampshire, I actually mentioned to Sherry, oddly enough, my CDs, the first one didn't work, but I got through it, and it just like Monique said, everything resonated with me. That like this is how I do things.
Mm.
I'm not the only one. And I thought, wow, that was amazing that I wasn't the only one.
What did you do after you read it and listened to the audiobook? Like, what was your follow-up personally to take your education to the next level? And I just have to throw out a big shout out to Bob Berg, one of my favorite people on the planet. He is essentially the go-giver. Wrote one of the best books of all time, in my opinion, The Go-Giver. And him and John David Mann. John David Mann just came out with The Go-Giver Marriage. It is a phenomenal book for couples. Phenomenal book. And Endless Referrals was one of the very first books I read when, kind of on my journey to developing the referral mastery system. So I love that. Great.
I thought it was amazing too, after I had read that and picked up 7L, that there was that connection
Mm-hmm.
with Bob Berg. So I was already doing handwritten notes. And so after reading 7L, I tweaked that a little bit to do the power note. And then it helped me fine tune my networking a little bit. Because that was what I was doing anyways, was building relationships because that's how I felt comfortable. And I love the idea of the networking stack.
Mm-hmm.
And, I love connecting people. So the networking stack fit right into that.
Yeah, and I love, like you said, connecting, and that's the new ABC. The old ABC for the ego era was always be closing, right? And it was always about the salesperson, the ego of the salesperson, and how big and bad and dominant they could be. And that world's gone. Like, people don't even respond to that anymore. And the new ABC for the generosity generation is always be connecting, connect one-on-one, and also connect them to others that you know to build your network. And I love that. And I also love that you tweaked something you were already doing versus like starting something, brand new that you'd never done before. You were already writing handwritten notes. You went to the 7 steps to a power note and took it from there. Explain the networking stack for maybe some of the people who aren't familiar with that term yet.
The networking stack, as I understand it, correct me if I'm wrong, Michael.
I won't, but go ahead. Yeah. You just explain it from your stance. That's the best stance. Yeah.
You want to find a location that, number one, that you love, number one, that is, hopefully centrally located, that you can kind of make your own place for having one-on-one meetings with people. And then you just stack those meetings with a little bit of overlap so that hopefully as one meeting is ending, the other one is coming in, and hopefully you can arrange those meetings so that the people you are meeting with would benefit from meeting each other. And then you introduce them. And in the process, you get to know the staff at the restaurant, they get to know you, and it's just all, I'm getting goosebumps. It's just all win. And it's all about connections.
Yeah. I couldn't have explained it any better. I love it. And what did you do 30-minute or 1 hour blocks on your networking stack?
1 hour.
Yeah. Okay. So plenty of time to build that relationship with them. And I love the other benefit that we could mention with the networking stack is that it automatically ends the meetings. Whereas, sometimes you can end up like spending 3 hours with someone and you lose some of the energy, honestly, because you kind of run out and you're like, oh, well, I've kind of asked everything, and you're just tired, right? When you have an hour and then somebody else shows up, there's an energy to that. And also, it's a great way to gently change from one meeting to the other. It's a great way to end the first meeting. What a great way to connect them. And then you can actually use the restroom. Because otherwise you're sitting there for 3 or 4 hours in a row and it's like, oh my God, this is crazy. You don't want to leave and use the restroom during a meeting, right? But it's like, and here's the thing. When you go to the restroom, what are they going to talk about? They're going to talk about you because that's the only point of reference they have. So it's just, I love how the networking stack lines up and to do it at a home court advantage like you're explaining, doing it at a restaurant where you're a regular just makes it all that more powerful. Love that. All right. So you both recently took the event mastery class, and first of all, I'll go to Monique. Like, Monique, what event did you throw? When did you do it, and how did it go?
Okay, I threw an ice cream social at the end of July, and everything was locally owned from the establishment to all the sponsors, including my charity. I had 7 sponsors. And not
now, hold on.
Yeah, okay.
Oh yeah, what? All right. How many events have you done before?
None. This was my first event.
You had 7 sponsors at your first event?
I did.
I would knock my mic over, but I did that the other day and it broke. Like literally dropping the mic, it broke my mic. It's like I have this one piece that like falls off. So I'm not going to drop the mic, but you could drop the mic, right? All right. So we got to unpack that, but keep ice cream social. You had a charity, you had sponsors. When did you do it?
At the end of this past July.
Okay. So you were doing that Summerfest and doing an event?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, you were busy, weren't you?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. And Julie, what event did you throw and when did you throw it?
I did an ice cream social as well. I held it on July 28th.
Nice.
I forget which day it is, but National Ice Cream Day is in July. So that's perfect. And
isn't National Ice Cream Day just any day? I mean, just if we really like, we could say, hey, we're celebrating National Ice Cream Day on like October 23rd, and people would go, I'm in, So I like that. So
yeah, ice cream's all year in Louisiana.
Yeah, or Massachusetts or Canada even. I mean, they eat ice cream in Canada. I just found out the other day. So, all right, and. So sponsors and charity involved with that, Julie? I hope that you had a green sponsor. That I feel like Habitat for Humanity or somebody is like in alignment with you.
That would have been very cool.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
But the one I had was very cool as well.
Yeah.
It was, everything was local as well.
Okay.
I really loved. It was actually a charity that provides protective vests for first responder dogs all over.
Oh my goodness.
And
okay.
one of our local canine officers was at my event. And that really made the event for me.
So it brought the dog, right?
Yes.
How many dogs did you have?
Just one canine.
Yeah. So, I mean, the dog loved it. Center of the attention. No other dogs to share that with, right? High I personality dog, probably, right? Super social, super friendly. Had to be organized. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So I love that. And here's the thing about that charity. It's not a charity. One, it's probably they don't do a great job of getting the word out about it themselves. And number two, it's probably something your database hadn't heard much about. So it's got an interest to it. Like, oh my God, I didn't even know you could donate to get a jacket. How much are the jackets? Do you know? Or the vests?
They are $960 each.
Yeah, I knew it was like super, super expensive. They got to be flexible, Kevlar. They've got all kinds of gadgets with it too. So that's amazing. I love it. And Monique, who is your sponsor or charity?
It was Love Inc. I actually partnered up with my church. We did a school supply drive.
Yeah, nice. All right. So, we have these sequences, right? We have the planning sequence, invitation sequence, confirmation sequence, event sequence, and then follow-up sequence, right? So I want to talk about the planning sequence and the setup phase first, okay? So let's talk about that. We're going to unpack it kind of sequentially or chronologically, if you will. So, and I'll start with you, Julie. Is like, what were your biggest lessons from the planning sequence, the setup phase of your event?
Honestly, I think my biggest lesson was to keep the event mastery manual with me or not, because, copious notes where lines were in the margins everywhere. Because when I had ideas, I just threw them in there. And that was just key for me, is to have that book with me, because sometimes I feel like Doug from Up, like squirrel.
Yeah. I literally did that yesterday in Sherry's office. There literally was a squirrel out her back door. And I go, squirrel, like that. And she's like, focus, we're talking about RMS. It's like, okay.
That's it.
Seriously, there's a squirrel, big fat squirrel. So
I needed that focus and direction. I needed that.
Yeah, your event mastery book, yours personally, is probably worth $10,000 if you think about it. Between your notes and the notes that were already there and the combination, I mean, it's invaluable. I mean, and that's what I want it to be, right? Because you can now use that for any event you ever do in the future, but you can also help others do events because of what you've learned from that.
And that's exactly what I'm trying to do. Telling other people about it, because some people in this shifting real estate market, they're getting discouraged. So I'm actually using the Gen community to encourage people. Look, you don't want a cold call. You don't want to knock on strangers' doors. Try this.
Yeah, I love that. And this is probably a great shout out for joingengen.com. Join the generosity generation. If you're listening to this podcast, you like what you hear, you're probably a great choice to be a member of joingengen.com, the generosity generation. And like what Julie was saying is, I hope that everybody in the generosity generation uses the generosity generation to help their local communities. Like I will tell you that we sold an old car. There was somebody that had like an ambassador who had a 1927 Rolls Royce. I don't remember the exact car, but it was a pretty specific. But we actually had somebody else in the group who knew someone who invested in those kind of cars, and they ended up selling it, and it went from Dallas to California or something like that. So like a thing that you would have never even thought that we could have helped with, we can help with. So know that every time you're setting at a networking stack, or you're setting at a one-on-one, or you've got somebody from your group who needs help, you now have this huge, giant, infinite group of help behind you, right? And it's like, let me check with Jen. And we'll do what we can. And I will tell you that there's a power of that. There's a beauty of that. So I love that you're doing that. And I love that you're sharing what the beauty of Event Mastery too is you're sitting there and you're across the table with a guy who just opened a cryo place and he wants to grow his business. Well, I mean, could you imagine a cold caller or a door knocker saying, well, you should probably go knock on doors or cold call? You know, cold call makes sense for cryo, maybe because it's cold, but never mind. Doesn't make sense for them either. But the thing is have an event. They should have a launch party for their business, period. Grand opening, right? And it's like, all right, just run this system for your grand opening, for your launch. Invite everyone. Invite the Chamber of Commerce. So I absolutely love that you're using it as a tool. That's the each one teach one philosophy of the Gen. So I love that. All right. So how about you, Monique? What were your biggest lessons from the planning sequence and the setup phase?
Okay, like Julie, I also kept that book with me. But I just kind of took your advice on the ice cream social, and just went with that. But I went on Facebook and just kind of asked my friends what are some of the new or best upcoming places or just establishments here in our area. And that's actually how I found the place where I did it. So that was pretty cool.
Are you telling me you implemented the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire strategy? And it worked?
It did.
And now, let me ask you this. All right. So, and you can say no. Either one of you. Raise your hand if you got an answer on that. But did either one of you get a referral from the planning sequence? The answer may be no, but I'm just curious if, like doing the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where you poll the audience, phone a friend, and narrow down the choices to 2, did you get one in those conversations by any chance? And the answer may be no.
Not in that exact way, but whenever in my conversations with one of my sponsors, they had one. Yeah.
So the answer is yes.
Yeah. So
imagine a system where in every sequence in the system, you have the opportunity to get referrals. I'm getting chills just talking about this. And maybe it's because Julie started it. She gave me a fever of chills, right? We got the chills going here. But it's like you can get referrals from the planning sequence, the invitation sequence, the confirmation sequence. I mean, the one of the best referrals I ever got in my life was confirming, and they couldn't go, but they had a referral for me. And it's like, yeah, let's go. Sweet. And then I didn't have to pay any money for them at the event. It was so good. So then you got the event sequence where you're going to get a lot of referrals, and the follow-up sequence is going to drive referrals because the value has already been given to them. So love that. All right. So I got to ask, right? How did the event go? And I'll stay with you, Monique. How did your event go? How many people did you have? Did it run smoothly? And then we'll talk about sponsors in a second.
Okay. I think it went great. I had a lot of good feedback. I had my volunteers that were people that I loved and were so dear. So they helped it. They rocked it. And people came and gave generously, which, put me in awe. And it was just a great day to get to love on my people. And it was overwhelming to me, and it encouraged me so much to do more events. So
that's awesome.
I think it's a success. Yeah.
Awesome. Julie, how about you?
I was actually pretty overwhelmed at not just the amount of people who showed up, but my volunteers. They were just unbelievable. I don't want to cry, but I obviously couldn't have done it without them. They allowed me to, like you said, Monique, to love on my people that I don't get to see them all the time. And it was so nice to give people hugs and chat and connect. It was just amazing. And now I do feel that momentum, and I can't wait for my next event.
Yeah, that's awesome. And here's the thing. Would you guys have ever thought of asking volunteers to help if you hadn't taken event mastery?
Mm-mm.
And
Would not.
and
I would have,
they're some of the best people.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would have felt like it was all on me.
Yeah. Yeah. And you would have tried to run the event yourself. You would have been exhausted. You wouldn't have followed up. It would have been miserable. And yeah, the event was going to be a success. It would have been, because you're a successful person, right? But it would have been so much work, you would have never wanted to do it again. And I will tell you, the even your next event, I would even fight for the who is not you even more, right? Fight for having a role for everybody else, and your role is to just be the hostess with the mostest, right? Or the host with the most. And you are Princess Diana walking around loving on people with no duty other than loving on people. And I will tell you, that's the best role to have. And I just love that you got, I mean, and here's the other thing. Did the volunteers complain about volunteering?
Not at all.
Did they complain about being involved?
No.
Did they ask you for pay at the end? Right? So it's like, man, let's get more people involved. You know, here's why. Because they want to help. People want to help. If they can't help, they'll say, you know what, I can't help. And yet they go, you know what? I love that person for asking me to help. How cool is that? Right?
Cool.
So, all right. So how about sponsors? Julie, I'll start with you. How did it go on sponsor? Did you have any sponsors, right? Sometimes with the first event, you don't get any. So
I had 8 sponsors.
Jesus. I need to raise the price of event mastery. All right. So how many events? So you've done events before. This was your first event and you had 8. We're done. Like, I'm done. How do we turn this thing off? Like, come on. Right? You know what? I'm a freaking good teacher.
Yeah.
You are? Yeah.
C'est bon, c'est bon.
I'm taking it, baby. Let's go. Let's go. So, all right.
Be a good receiver.
Yeah. You know what? I'm an appreciative receiver. That is a developing talent, I will tell you. So, all right. So 8 sponsors. Well, can you list some of them that were involved?
I had a doggy daycare, which was apropos. I had a mortgage lender. I had a baker. Skincare.
Wait. What'd you say after baker? You cut out.
A florist.
Yes.
I had a boot camp. I had
Like an athletic boot camp, fitness boot camp?
yes.
That's brilliant. Yes.
I had clean crafted wine, which is green.
Yes. Nice perks there. I guess that goes hand in hand with the fitness boot camp, if you think about it, right?
Yeah.
So, how'd you get them?
I just opened my mouth and asked.
Yeah. Well, how'd that go, right? You probably did not go, hey, can I have some money, right? But how did that conversation, like, let's say I'm a potential sponsor. Let's say I'm an insurance agent, right? You didn't mention that. How would you talk about the event to me?
I'm taking coaching for doing events. And here's the goal. The goal is to build businesses by referrals. And that's for myself, but especially for my sponsors. And with this last event that I did, I had 8 sponsors and I sent out 104 referrals to those sponsors. So that provided them with great.
Okay, I'm in. Like, I'm in. Like, I mean, you gave 104 referrals to 8 sponsors, right? Yes. So, I mean, here's the thing. If that number would have been like 32, I'm still in, you know, because also as an insurance agent, I'm thinking, well, I could get more referrals than that, right? I mean, you said a boot camp, like how many people are signing for that, you know? So I mean, here's the beauty. Like, you did event mastery. You now have that one event. That one event is going to make you millions because you have a case study. You have an example of success, right? I mean, you said 8 sponsors. I was a lot more interested than if I was the first sponsor. And then you said 104 referrals given. Like, I don't just take your money. You're actually investing in me and my event to get leads. This is lead generation of the future. It really is. So I love that. Great job, by the way. That was really good. You had me at hello. Oh wait, that's another
That's a different movie.
Another movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that a movie from the 80s? Or was it the 90s? Jerry Maguire?
I think it was the 90s.
Was it? I think you're right.
I don't know.
I think it was the 90s. It's like, show me the money, right? Yeah, love that. So, all right. 8 sponsors. I mean, I have to be honest with you, is I went to you first because she had 7 sponsors, and I was thinking, well, I don't want to steal Julie's thunder by, like, I thought you were going to say 1 or 3 or 5, and then I was going to go to Monique, and she had 7, because I didn't want to go 7 and then go to you and go, yeah, well, I had 3, right? Well, you had 8 and she had 7. So it's like, that's tied. That's like, there is no stealing thunder from another person here. So, all right. So Monique, tell us about your sponsor roundup and kind of lessons learned around, getting sponsor. Who were your sponsors, and what did the 7 sponsors tell you or get out of it?
Okay. The 7 sponsors were all people that I knew that had their own businesses. It was a way to support them, whether title or a lender. There was one that was a restoration company. There was an eye doctor, my money coach friend, and a CPA, as well as the place that I hosted it at. They also became a sponsor.
Brilliant. The place that I hosted it at also became a sponsor. Boom. That is straight out of Event Mastery, and one that people typically do not even think of. And it's really easy for them to give a door prize. I mean, right? They have a venue. They probably have food or drink or something. They could give a free room, free use of their event room. You know what I mean? As a door prize. So it's just it's one of those where that just makes a ton of sense. And so how did it go? How did the sponsors respond? And did you generate any business for them? How'd that go?
Yeah. So whenever I asked them to partner with me in the community event that I was having for my business, I didn't rock it as much as Julie, but none of them said, let me think about it, or no. They were all, yes, of course, let's do it. And they knew that they were going to get advertising and that, all the things. And yes, they got some referrals too. I ended up with 16. Some of them were real estate careers as well. And then out of all the sponsors, there were 6 within them. So, and my sponsors today are still like, okay, we're going to do this grand opening. We want to do this. They're already helping me plan and move on with those things. But
Did you just say that you got 16 real estate referrals?
Yes, 4 of them were for real estate career.
So somebody that wanted to join the team, your team, or join real estate in some way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 12, is my math right? Or did I do
Sir.
that wrong? Yeah. So 12 real estate referrals, buyers, sellers, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's really awesome. I mean, it's just like most people don't get 12 referrals in a year. Right? The average is less than 5 referrals a year, 3 to 5. And that's typically Sphere, but they're counting them as referrals. It's really just Sphere, friends that they knew that ended up buying or selling. So that's awesome, right? And then Julie, we have to ask you, right? You handed out over 100. How many did you generate for you?
9.
So 9 referral. What's your average sales price there?
Average is in the high 300s, low 400s.
So 400,000, right? So that's what, 3.6 million, right? Basically, and hopefully business, right, down the road. So it's interesting to me that you generated 9 for you and 104 for the sponsors. That's a really interesting ratio that we usually it's fairly 50-50, right? It's like 12 and 12 or 20 and 20 or Torals was 91 and 168, right? Which is fairly equal, I guess. But so that's awesome. I mean, how many referrals had you gotten up to the point before the event, do you think? Like this year?
Oh, you mean aside from the event?
Yeah.
Probably about 6.
Yeah. So and you got 9 in one day, right? So it's all there. And Monique, how about you? Right, you're working mostly Sphere and Referral anyway.
Yeah.
And how many did you get before the event? About?
Probably 1 to 2 a month.
Yeah. Okay. So you're at maybe 10, right? And then you got 12 in one day,
Mm-hmm.
right? So you doubled your referrals on the year, and that's solid, right? Okay. So now I want to ask. So what have you done for follow up, right? What have you learned from the follow up sequence, and what have you done for follow up? And Julie, I'll go to you first, and then Monique.
So I'm doing several things. I'm send out cards, some
Yep.
handwritten cards,
Yep.
calls, texts. I don't do a lot of follow-up by email.
Yeah.
I like the calls and texts better.
Okay. And then did you do videos at all?
Not this time, no.
Okay. That's one. I mean, I'm your coach, right? So I would just say include that. You're so personable. And the background is solid. Your background, I mean, like you're ready to go right now to do an invite easily. And if you're going to do an invite, you might as well just do the thank you at the same time, and just get that out of the way. And then you can text it or email it or post it, whatever you want to do. I love it. All right. So Monique, what did you do in the form of follow-up?
Follow-up is definitely where I need to get better.
Kick in the pants right now. Let's go.
Yeah.
Right.
So I did some email with the link to the Facebook, which is where I had all the pictures. Did not do video. That was an afterthought. Like, dang, I missed that one. And then I called all of my guests in text that came and just personally thanked them. And then with the people, this is an area that I know I need to get better by listening to other podcasts too. Okay. That's how I listen to your podcast, is in how I'm doing the follow-up with the referrals. So that's something that I want to tighten up. But I would like to add, even from that this event, I would have, I had a small profit, but I decided to go ahead and break even with buying all of my sponsors one of your 7L books. Mm-hmm. And I invited them to Gin. And so I broke even too. So, but I kind of gave back. So that was also part of a follow-up, like a thank you to my sponsors.
Did you just say that you made money making money? And it was legal? Is that what you just said? Like, you made money holding the event, and then you're going to make money from the 12 referrals. I mean, even if 6 of them fall out, 6 of the referrals are going to pay off, and you're going to make money from that, right? And then here's the other thing. Those sponsors, I mean, like you said, they're already itching and pushing you to do your next event, right? Yeah, what is your next event? What's your next event going to be?
I got a couple of ideas going, whether it might be coffee or the pie, which is, again, kind of taken from the class.
You can do both. Coffee and pumpkin pie. Here's another thing. Oh my God, I don't know when this is launching, but you guys know that one of the most popular products ever launched as in frequency is the pumpkin spice latte. Mm. And Dunkin' Donuts has a pumpkin super spicy latte or something like it's PSSL, I think, or a PPSL, something. Premium pumpkin spice latte, I think. So Dunkin' Donuts has one, Starbucks has one. Doing something around pumpkin spice latte in the fall, and if you include pies or not, makes just a ton of sense, right? So let Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts promote the heck out of it, and then all you do is buy it, right? So there's some juice to that. So
Well, it might be incorporating one of my sponsors, a grand opening for them, and maybe like a live band too, because it'll be a little cooler.
Here we go.
So
I love it. I love it. And the cool thing about music is it makes the difference with events, right? You know, people sometimes will forget some of the things around the event, but they'll remember the music, you know? All right. So, Julie, what's your next event?
My next event is a pie event.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm very excited because some of the people who wanted to sponsor my ice cream social, they were a little bit late to the game. So I said, well, just come in with the next one. So we have that, we have the date, I have the bakery.
When are you doing it?
Pardon?
What day are you doing it? Sunday, Monday,
November
Tuesday?
22nd.
Which is what day of the week?
It's a Tuesday. It's
Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
You
right?
got it.
I love it. Tuesday works. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great day to do it because the pies are still fresh on Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Idiot here did it the Friday before one time, and by the time that Thanksgiving came around, the pies were not all that great anymore. So it's like, all right, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's when you got to do it. And we did it Sundays for a long time, and it worked really well on Sundays. We avoided the Chiefs game when we could. The year they had a bye, it was phenomenal because nobody had to think about the Chiefs game. Well, I mean, this has been awesome. Like this, I mean, if you had like words of wisdom for someone who is looking to take event mastery or throw an event, like what is the one word of wisdom or the things that you would tell them? Monique, I'll go to you first, and then Julie.
one word.
Well, not one word. One sentence, one paragraph. Like what are let's call it the paragraph of wisdom.
I mean, I just want to say do it, right? But I would encourage somebody not to just do it, but tie in with a charity. People love to give, and it just makes it so much more impactful on everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Don't do an event without a charity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Julie, how about you? Words of wisdom for those that are contemplating event mastery or contemplating throwing an event.
King Solomon, long time ago, said, there's nothing new under the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Rocket science. I don't know if you can see the quote behind me by Amelia Earhart. The best way to do it is to just do it. And join Gen, get in the coaching and see what other people have done and take off of that. That's what I did. I didn't do much that was original. I took other people's registration forms, made them my own, just tweaked it. Just everybody else, a lot of people are having success with this, and see what they've done and follow it.
Yeah, don't reinvent the wheel, right? But here's what I love about it, right? Is neither one of you did Toral's event or my event or Monique's event or Nicole's event. You know what? You did your event. And the event was you, right? So, and here's the thing. Nobody came to the event and goes, oh, yeah, you're running that system like Michael Maher does, right? I mean, like, no, it's an event. And it was all you, right? What's original about the event? It's me doing an event. Right? When you do your event, it's you doing an event. That's what's original. That's what's spicy. That's what's, edgy. That's what's cool about the event is you're doing it. And so you can put your spin on it, your love on it, your generosity on it. I mean, Canine Vest, who the heck thought of that? I mean, like, that's brilliant. I love it. And so it's just one of those where that's what I love about our system is A, we do it. I love that about the system, so we can model it. And B is that we're going to give you the structure for you to be you and be loving, generous, and appreciative your way. So it's not like you have to change who you are or what you think to do it. All you got to do is do it. So I love, great comments. This is a podcast that people are going to listen to over and over again. I mean, here's the thing, right? Less than 2 years in the business, less than 4 years in the business, on a team, solo, mom, right? All these things going on, super busy, busier than most people in the world, small market, not huge market, it's one of those where what limiting beliefs does anybody have left? They're just fighting it. Here's the thing. They're just going to quit listening to Referrals podcast because we keep beating them over the head that it works for anybody. And they're like, yeah, but this will never work in my market. I'm sorry. That no longer applies. You can no longer say that because as long as there's people in your market, this will work in your market, period. No matter what industry you're in either. You guys happen to be in real estate. But you know what? Our solar people are kicking butt with events. Chick-fil-A is kicking butt with events. Do they need to do events? Probably not. But they're doing them. Why? Because it's smart business. And isn't it time for everybody to apply smart business? I truly believe that. So, first and foremost, and I just want to say thank you, Monique. Thank you, Julie, so much for being our guest this month on Referrals Podcast. You rocked it.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks a million for the invitation. It's fantastic.
Always.
See ya, RMS 22.
Booyah! Let's
Bring in
go.
a friend.
Bring in a friend. RMS22.com. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you got a bunch out of it. And if you didn't, check your pulse because you may be dead. I'm telling you, so much great value unpacked here today. And I'm telling you, you love this podcast. I know. Wait till you see the next one. OMG. Make sure that you tune in every Tuesday. We launch it every Tuesday morning, and you get the whole week to listen to it. It comes out weekly, referralspodcast.com. And then, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't invite you to join gengen.com and also rms22.com. Check those out. See if they're right for you. We'd love to have you. Welcome to the Generosity Generation. And we'll see you on the next episode of Referrals Podcast.